sometimes it's like, And a brief history of the crazy, but I love this, that's my point. I'm not like, oh, I hate this quilt. No, I love it, and I'm gonna tell you something really cool about it. But the crazy quilt, some people who don't know about quilts, but some people argue that it's not a quilt because, just like this log cabin, which is next, there's no batting. So if you have a quilt with just a front and a back, you could consider it a coverlet or a blanket. Somebody, if they call your quilts blankets, don't you get like ragey? Like, oh, I love it. You make those blankets. Or somebody said, there's always someone, you know, a couple times a year who will say to me, like on an airplane, if I'm talking about what I do, I'll be like, yeah, so, you know, the quilt industry is like a $4 billion industry. I always trot out the numbers because they don't know, you know. Online dating is 3 billion. We're 4 billion. Online dating is 3 billion. Yeah? And 18 million quilters in America. So I kind of throw the numbers out. And then the person frequently will say, oh, that's just great. My grandmother used to knit. And then he'll say, do you make them by hand? So anyway, but the crazy quilt, you know, not technically a quilt, and the thing, but it is. But the thing too to know is that it was a huge, huge trend in Victorian America in 1880 and into the 1890s. I mean, everybody was doing it. Women loved this style, and it's possible that they were influenced by like the Japanese kind of parquet. I don't know if I'm saying the word quite right, if it's parquet, because that's French. Parquetry? Anyway, Japanese kind of style art was happening at the time, decor. And as you look at pictures from the 1880s, because photography, when it started to really be a thing where people were doing portraits in their home, these are everywhere. They're over the couch. Some people pose with them in the center, and these are like really in the forefront. So it was like the dance craze sweeping the nation, and they got very crazy, and it was all about like everything into it. This is not a minimalist quilt. We're going to see some that are in just a second, but this is not minimalist. It's got less stuff on it. There's no like birds and beads going on. And the really wonderful thing about this quilt that I'm sure Marjorie, she just couldn't live without it. It's quite possible that these are from hat brims. Oh. That they were the lining in hat brims. And I think that makes sense. I think she's right. We don't know, but like the tops, like this. And this seems to be a purse, like a reticule taken from a purse. And I think that's pretty dope, as the kids say. The last thing here is the log cabin. Log cabins traditionally not sewn, but tied, which makes them